More than likely, if you clicked on this video, you're probably already somewhat interested in learning more about organ donation awareness, how you can go about doing that, what you can do for the community to make sure that the gift of life just keeps on coming for so many who are still on that extremely long, stressful wait list. Now, with that being said, I wanted to share with you today a little bit of an interview I did just the other day with a great friend of the program. His name is Matt Schneider. Now, if you're not already familiar with Matt is involved in something that is impressive, to say the least. He is traveling across America on a scooter, by all means. I said a scooter, in order to help to raise awareness for organ donation. And really, he just does it because he wants to give back. So I want to share with you right now that interview that we had the other day so that he can kind of tell you a little bit about this in his own words, exactly as he told me about it. See you at the end. So tell me a little bit about what you're doing. What's this scooting across America thing?
After this fourth transplant, I wanted to do more for the transplant community. I've been doing a lot, like I volunteer at a camp called Camp Independence in Atlanta, which is for kids who've had transplants. And I realized that I wanted to do even more and kind of spread it across the country, since I was on dialysis for the longest amount of time waiting for this kidney. And when I was a kid, I watched a movie called The Terry Fox Story. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. He was a guy who lost his leg to cancer, and he ran across Canada to raise money for cancer research.
Right.
So I saw this movie about him when I was 7 years old, and it's just always been in the back of my mind. And recently, on top of my kidney stuff, both of my hips are dislocated. And I've been walking around okay until I got to my 40s. I'm 43 now. And I most recently had to start using a mobility scooter for long distances, like going to a Braves game or sporting events and concerts and stuff. So at first, I didn't want to use it because of my pride. I was like, I don't need a mobility scooter. I'm only in my 40s. But once I started using it and realizing how much I've been missing, I was like, well, if I'm going to start using it, why don't I really start using it and do what Terry did and just use my scooter and go across the country? So the purpose of it is just to educate people about organ donation and to register as many people as I can to the donor list.
Wow. So what have you accomplished so far in that goal then?
So I came up with this 2 years ago in October of 18. And last year I tried to do it, and I raised about $5,000. I got the mobility scooter, and I tried to start the trip. I went from Miami, where I had my first transplant, up to Atlanta, where I had my last 3 transplants. And then I went up to Nashville to start continuing west from Nashville. But I ran out of money. So I ended up having to stop the trip after 45 days. And I turned around and I went home and I just continued my life. But I knew I didn't accomplish what I wanted to. I did register 15 donors, but I wanted to do a lot more, and I wanted to get the word out a lot more. So I've been doing more fundraising and reaching out for sponsorships. So I'm redoing my journey, and I'm going to start from Hilton Head on April 4th, and I'm going to go 4,800 miles to San Francisco 5 months later.
Wow. You got lofty goals set then. That sounds like that's going to be great, though.
Yep, yeah, and I'm not turning around this time. I'm going to do the whole thing. I'm going to do whatever I can to get it completed. I have $10,000 now, so I have more money, and I'm still working on sponsorships. But the biggest part of it is I'm going to have a film crew with me this go around, and we're going to make a documentary about me, my trip, and organ donation.
Okay. Well, just being able to carry the film crew for that potential, I know could raise interest already, because there could be some people interested in just that side of it, if nothing else.
Exactly. And when I was on my Miami to Atlanta to Nashville trip, I would contact local news stations. And so I had news interviews in Tampa, in Jacksonville, Augusta, and Chattanooga. So I was able to get the word out via the news. And I'm going to push even harder for that on this second go around and try to get a news station for every stop that I take.
Right.
Yeah, because I tried hard for Atlanta, especially since I had my last 3 transplants in Atlanta, but they just didn't end up doing anything.
Right.
So I know I just need to push harder and be more annoying with them to get them to do a story.
That's right. And that's what it's going to take. I've said it many a times. Our problem in America with organ donations and the shortages, it doesn't come down necessarily to the laws or anything else. It comes down to awareness, and no better people to get that out there than us, and then use the media to help. So
Exactly. The biggest issue, I think, is just education. People don't know about it or think about it, and all of the horrible myths of, like, if you're a donor, the doctor isn't going to save you, and all that crazy stuff. If we get that out, that none of that is true, and you can still go and live your life and not worry about anything. But if something happens, then it actually is better for your family because something good comes out of a tragedy.
right. That's absolutely correct.
Like, a lot of donor families I know are happy that their loved one did that because there's something that good that came out of it, and it just wasn't a waste.
Right. Well, I know, having a lot of communication with my donors family, that's kind of the sentiment I get from them. Obviously, they still hurt over the loss, but at the same time, they're still happy that they were able to help make a difference. And I speak with her regularly, maybe once every other week, if not more. And she, you know, I'm her other son, you know, that kind of thing. So.
Yep. Yeah, I'm 4 years into this transplant, and my first 3 were my mom, my dad, and my brother. So this was the first deceased donor, and I actually just turned in my letter. I write a letter annually to the donor family just so they know how I'm doing and how much I appreciate it. But they haven't reached out yet, so I haven't had an opportunity to talk to them.
Right. Now, as far as your kidney transplants, how far apart were they?
My first kidney lasted 7 years. My second one lasted 4. My third one lasted 15. And then this one is 4 years old.
Okay.
And the reason that they didn't last long is I had my first transplant in '87, and the medicines weren't as good as they are now. And I was just a kid when I had my first one.
Right.
And sometimes the matches aren't as good. And like the one that lasted 15 years was my brother, and he was a perfect match.
Okay. Well, then maybe you're on the path for another really successful run this time, because, like I said, the medications have changed a lot. You're matured a lot, so you'll handle things differently. Yep. I know, not knocking anything you did, but like I say, you're a kid. I mean, a kid's just gonna.
Oh no, you're right.
They're gonna run into more situations.
When I was in college, I didn't take care of myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not take care of myself in college, and I was lucky enough that I was able to get my brother's kidney, and I learned from my mistakes, and I actually talked to teams and tell them to not do what I did. Right. So, like, I'm proof that if they don't do what they're told, their organ will fail, and they'll have to go back on dialysis if their kidneys, or have to go back on the waiting list for everything else.
Right.
So it kind of, I was blessed to be able to get the other kidney, and learning from my mistakes, I can help others.
Right. Right, because that other kidney is not always a possibility. It's, you know, for a lot of people, it doesn't happen. So
exactly.
You're very blessed to have gotten that far.
I'm very blessed. Yeah.
Okay.
And even with this kidney, the reason I know this one's going to last a long time is they told me when my last one failed that it was going to be 3 to 5 year waiting list, which is like the average. And it was such a perfect kidney. I got it only 13 months out.
Right.
So I was lucky that I didn't have to sit on dialysis for 3 to 5 years.
Absolutely. Sure enough. All right. Well, backing up just a little bit. So you've got more money raised this time. You're about to embark on this journey again. What's your timeline for doing that?
On April 4th, I am leaving Hilton Head, and I'm going to have a film crew with me the whole time, but I'm going to have a news station there at the beginning. I contacted Donate Life South Carolina, and they want to do kind of a little send-off / media thing with me, and I'm going to set that up closer to the time, like in March. I'm going to call them and set up something officially, and then I'm going to be gone for 5 months, and I'm going to finish at the end of August in San Francisco.
Okay, so literally all the
Yep.
way across the country, as far as you can go.
Yep.
Wow.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm going to go to LA, and then I'm going to go up the Pacific coast and do that beautiful scenic route.
Right. Well, who are your targets as far as, and I know anybody's a target, but who are your targets
Right.
as far as who can help to raise money / raise awareness for what you're planning to do?
It's anything. My biggest thing is I'm just sharing everything on Facebook and on social media, and have a website that's on my Facebook page. It's just wanting to get the word out more and more, not only to help with the funding, or if someone could find a sponsorship for like a hotel or something like that, but to get people to register. Like, there's a link on my website that if you've heard a story about transplant and you are considering to sign up to be an organ donor, they just click that and sign up.
Okay.
So I've had 15 people already register to be organ donors.
That's awesome. All right. Well, let me draw some attention to one part of that. You said potentially maybe providing hotels, that sort of thing. I know this journey is going to be.
People have points. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know this journey is going to be somewhat unpredictable. So, but there'll be a tentative, I guess, pathway, a map that you'll be able to, or, list of cities.
I have the dates and all of my stops already, and I can send you that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have every single stop. I go on average of 40 miles a day. Since it's on a scooter, I'm on the scooter for 4 hours. If I go up to 70 miles, I'm on the scooter for 7 hours a day. So I try to limit it to 4 to 5 hours a day. Wow. And so, yeah, I have a stop almost every 40 to 50 miles. Okay. And I can send you that. Yeah.
Okay. That way, people will be aware that you're coming. Who knows? I mean, it may not be anybody donating points. Exactly. It may be a mom and pop hotel that says, hey, this guy's coming to town and we want him staying here. Yeah. Or that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And just getting the word out. And even if, one of the things I've been trying to join more transplant related groups. And if people who've had transplants are out there who are on the way to my stop, it would be great to meet other recipients and tell their stories as well. And they can be a part of everything also. Right.
And that could be potentially tremendous. I mean, I'm from a small town, but even from my town, and when I say small, I'm smaller than most. I'm talking about 1,800 people. But even from our town, we've got five recent, I'm talking about within the past 6-7 years, 5 recent recipients. You go out just a little bit from that, wow. Just right outside of the city limits, if you want to call it that. We got another 8. So it's a really concentrated area as far as, especially heart and lungs. Most of us are heart and lungs, although there are several kidneys scattered around too, and a liver up the road. Right. But that within itself, the sheer numbers you hate to hear in an area like that. But at the same time, someone gets an organ donation, it makes the newspaper. I mean, so it hits the newspaper pretty regularly because of that. Whereas if we lived in a city of, 500,000, that would never happen, So that, that helps some. So maybe if some potential donors were in an area and came down to meet you, they already may have some relationships where they can help to draw the attention as well. So that's good.
Yeah, right. And then it's not just about me and my transplant journey. I can share other people's and show that there are a lot of us out there, and there are others who are waiting who need the same help.
Man, I tell you what, I'm impressed. I'm definitely impressed. And with your transplants, when you're up to the number 4, certainly even with 1, you're grateful, but I know with 4, you're certainly grateful. So it's just another motivator, I'm assumed, to want to do this and to want to put this plan into the movement and keep it going. So.
Exactly. Yeah. And I love what you're doing, because one of the things I was going to do is I want to do a YouTube page and talk about the trip and share transplant stories. And then I came across your page, like, I don't need to do anything. You've done almost everything transplant related of helping any sort of issues with people having questions. And it's amazing. I haven't even seen a tenth of all the videos, but I definitely want to watch all of them.
Right. I've got somewhere in the neighborhood a little over 470 videos, and they're all related to that. Yeah. I've got hundreds of videos that came before that where it was just me sharing my personal stuff. But as far as being officially the transplant helper, if you want to call it that, that's one of the videos as far as the education, I like to say advocate, educate, motivate started. And so, yeah, all of those 470 plus videos are directly related to that. But I don't think that means that no one else needs to do it. The more channels, the better. In your situation, what you're doing, I think is going to be critical, though. I mean, that you're able to just focus on moving from place to place, maybe occasionally, posting some video or something to Facebook or YouTube, whatever, just to track your progress. But, and then maybe at the end.
And actually, I did that on my trip. That's the other reason I was like, well, you have such a great YouTube page. And I do videos that are part of my trip. Like I do a 15-minute ride along with me, and I answer questions that people may have. So I still do my own videos, but I like that you have an actual page for transplant stuff.
Right.
So, because I was thinking about going that way, but you have that covered, and I can do my own version, and you do your version. And
absolutely.
So that's why I was like, yeah,
absolutely. Great. Well, I'll promote you any way that I can, as far as getting the word out, as far as, just trying to communicate to people what you're set to do. And, what your plans are. And then maybe we can keep in touch as that goes too. And on my end, I don't know how I would do this. I'm speaking, just off the cuff, but maybe on my end at some point coming back and saying, okay, he's fixing to arrive in so-and-so city and, this area.
Right.
And I talked with him yesterday, and here's some of the updates he's given me, and just pass that on. It doesn't have to be a big thing on my end necessarily, other than just to keep your face coming up. I don't have, I don't have the millions of subscribers, but I for the little small niche, depending on how you say it, that I have, as far as just organ transplant, we're knocking on door 6,000. So that's a good number for something like that, because everybody's not jumping up trying to look up organ transplant. And even those who have, I understand that I get, people who watch that are brand new, and they kind of watch until the worry wears off, or till they learn what they wanted to learn. They move on, and there's a whole new cycle of people constantly. So the numbers won't ever, be in the 100,000s and millions, probably. I know they won't, but at the same time, I do want to serve whoever's in need at the moment. So that's what those videos are for.
That's awesome.
And in your case, I know you're going to be doing a tremendous effort to do that as well. So I'll cross promote this stuff any way that I can, and we'll see what we can drum up anyway.
Okay. And there are a lot of people who have a lot of questions. I was just talking to a guy this morning who he got his transplant Thanksgiving, and he still had tons of questions for me. So go for it.
That's how it goes. And
I've done it. I'll answer what I can.
That's right. And already having the question answered by somebody who what I say has been there and doing that. We've not only done it, we're still doing it. But being there and doing that is a lot different from sitting down and asking the doctor or the social workers or the coordinators, because, I tell a story, I'll shorten it up. But years ago, when I first, way before heart transplant, I was having a defibrillator placed in my chest. And right after the surgery, doctor came in to tell me how it went. And I asked him, I said, if this thing goes off, is it going to hurt? And he said, oh, no, you won't feel a thing. And as he dipped out of the room, one of the fellows that was with him stepped back in, and he says he doesn't have one. He doesn't know. It's going to knock the fire out of you. So it's going to hurt. And, but, thankfully I didn't have to go through that. But that's just an example that, I don't think he was doing any harm, and he was just trying, keep from scaring me. But he's never experienced that. Neither has he experienced any of these other things that we all have to deal with.
Yeah, I had to get a spinal tap when I was 16, and they told me it was just going to be a little pressure. So now if a doctor tells me you're just going to feel a little pressure, I'm like, all right, I'm not doing it.
That's right.
You need to be a little more honest than that, because last time a little pressure was a spinal tap and went fine, and that was a lot more than a little pressure.
Yeah, it is definitely a different world for sure. So, all right. Well, anyway, I definitely appreciate what you're doing. Let me just say that again. I definitely appreciate what you're doing. If I can help in any way, you got my number. You give me a call. Like I say, if you can send me over some video clips at some point, I'll do my research on my end as far as going back and double down and on your Facebook pages and such, and see what I can dig through there as well. So I'm just telling you up front, I'll be ripping a picture or two off your Facebook page probably, but
that's fine.
It'll be for a good purpose, hopefully. But well, Matt, I
appreciate it.
Like I say, enjoy your drive, and if I can do anything at all to help you, I would certainly love to do that.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. and keep doing what you're doing. It's amazing.
Okay. Well, sounds good, man. We will talk to you at some point later. And like I say, if you
Yep.
need anything, just give me a call. Okay.
All right. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Okay, I'm almost certain after watching that, you're absolutely as impressed with Matt as I am. You're impressed with the efforts that he's making, the dedication that he has, and you're willing to cheer Matt on. So I'm going to put some links in the description below where you can go over and check out his Facebook page, his website, and really just get ready to start tracking his progress as he puts forth the effort to do this wonderful thing in hopes of raising awareness for organ donation. So thank you so much, Matt, for sharing your story. Thank you to each and every one of you who watched this video and took the time now to really discover what some of the options are, even though they may be a little different than what you typically see, but how much we can fight and we can win this battle if we're only willing to raise awareness. Thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time, stay stronger, friends.